Serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is the man who ate the town.
Hey folks, and welcome to episode 186 of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. This is for the week of February the 8th through the 14th, 2021. My name is Tim Beeman.
My name's Ray Morgan.
And I'm Leah Metz.
And we are opening the recipe box. We are recording this episode of The Man Who Ate the Town in the Less Desirable Studio South, aka my house. We are practicing social distancing and using Zoom, sponsored by Bull's Tavern. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcatchers like Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, or anything like that, because we're on anything you can think of as far as podcasts go, we'd appreciate a like, a follow, and a rating, and it would help us out tremendously. And if you're listening to us on the Triad Podcast Network, welcome and thank you for listening. This episode of The Man Who Ate the Town is brought to you by Mojito Latin Soul Food, located at 723 North Trade Street. Cuban and Latin-inspired dishes from a fantastic family. That's the Mions. From brilliant ceviche, empanadas, and street corn to Cubano sandwiches, steak sandwiches, and a mojito burger. All the way to shrimp and grits, vaca frita, and ropa vieja. Beer, wine, classic Cuban cocktails. I suggest trying the traditional mojito, the Sebastian mojito, and the Cuba Libre. Mojito Latin Soul Food has your Latino-inspired cravings ready for you. They do reservations, takeout, have a rather large outdoor patio, and do deliveries to surrounding businesses like Fiddling Fish, Broad Branch, and Wiseman. Check them out on their Facebook page and MojitoLatinSoulFood.com. If you saw the Super Bowl yesterday and stayed awake for it, you probably noticed that the commercials have gotten completely boring. Commercials used to be exciting, entertaining, a reason to watch the Super Bowl, even if you're not a football fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case any longer. They suck, to put it mildly. Now, to be fair, this past year wasn't especially fun or entertaining, and most companies are probably cautious to be insensitive, or not to be insensitive. Mm-hmm. However, it's the Super Bowl. Let it fly. Most were inspirational and somber things. I say phooey to that. The one that did stick out to me, though, was the Wayne's World commercial from Uber Eats. They conveyed and emphasized the Eat Local mantra, which I am fully behind. Now, I understand Uber Eats is one of the evil delivery services, and I say that with sarcasm. But the message was true and correct. Eat local, y'all.
And do eat yokels. Yeah, that's a good thing right there, yokels.
We like a couple of yokels.
There's some local yokels. Yeah, they good folk.
And congratulations to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for winning Super Bowl 55. Tom Brady for his seventh one. And for MVP for the fifth time. So
is he ready to step down now?
He says he's coming back next year.
Yay.
I don't mind him with the Bucs. I just don't like him with the Patriots.
I didn't like him with the Patriots because, I'm a Dolphins fan.
Right.
And, I can't. Just can't. So I'm finding it hard to root for him regardless of what team he's on because he was with the Pats for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. That's who you still think of him as. But,
yeah,
he truly is the GOAT. He is the greatest of all time. And he showed it last night. Granted, Patrick Mahomes had an offensive line that was like a bed sheet. People just
line?
They were like a bed sheet. People ran right through it.
In the wind.
Yeah, and he was hurt, and so there's a lot of things going against him. But I think the Bucs had it dialed in. They had everything right. I won't say
they were like a machine, just boom, 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 just nailing it. And you're looking at the sheer loss of focus from Kansas City. I mean, how many penalties and critical moments when it's like, you're about to get the ball back. No, you're just going to hand it right on over.
Yeah.
Come on. Now, you can't win a game that way. You stay focused. Penalties are all about loss of focus.
That's exactly right. And I won't say it was an exciting game because I don't think it was, but I thought it was entertaining. Yeah. It was an entertaining game. And I don't have no problem with the outcome. I was pulling for Kansas City because I'm a huge Mahomes fan. It just and I thought the Steelers were playing for a little bit because of all the drop passes, but they're notorious this year anyway about all the drop passes that they did. So there were, Tyreek Hill, Darrell Williams, all those dropping passes left and right. Even Travis Kelce dropped 2 critical passes. So that's lack of focus. If you can touch the ball, you can catch the ball. And
if it hits your hands,
yeah.
You're supposed to come away with that.
Yeah.
Now, if it hits my hands, it's going to bounce.
Right. Yeah.
These guys, come on now.
They get paid lots of money to catch the ball, so catch the ball.
They do.
But congratulations to the Bucs and all the things that they did yesterday. Sad news in the town's restaurant history. Sammy Ballas passed away last week. He was the uncle of Grecian Corner. He actually, uncle of Angelo Ballas, who's the current owner of Grecian Corner, and he was the founder, Jimmy was, of Grecian Corner, who celebrated just a couple weeks back their 50th anniversary. So, so rest in peace to Uncle Jimmy, and sorry to Angelo and all the people at Grecian Corner for your loss. Real quick, I want to talk Carrabba's Italian Grill. It's a responsible family of restaurants. Some say chain, but trust me, this restaurant doesn't operate like a chain. Daniel Butner and his staff make sure each person is treated like family with fresh and tasty food, hospitality like none other, and well, Daniel Butner. DB and his Carrabba's gives back to the community in so many ways. I'm proud to call him my friend. When at Carrabba's, try the Johnny, which is sirloin, masala, and chicken brine, or the chicken trio, which is chicken brine, pollo rosa, and chicken marsala. All those are my favorites, so check those out. Find out more, order for takeout, and then some at Carrabba's.com. All those chicken dishes I was talking about, Slappy's Chicken will be closing on February the 16th. They make sure to emphasize that it is only temporary, with several words in all caps. It will be basically to make a lot of much needed repairs and improvements. And as they say, in order to expedite the process, they will suspend business. There is no time frame as to when it will be reopening. Hopefully it won't take too long. But Leah, I know it's on your side of the list, but they all caps. Temporary. A lot.
Okay.
we get it. We get it. Okay.
We're not going away.
Renovation.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole bunch of people that'll go into withdrawal if they just shut down permanently.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
I was by there this weekend. I didn't stop in, but I was driving through that neighborhood. My daughter lives close to there. And there's all sorts of people outside on the picnic tables and all. It's like they continue to do well. Even just this little hole in the wall, but some good chicken.
Yeah, and I think the whole point is that, it is an old place. Really, they haven't upgraded much since Arcadia Grill, and that was old in itself. So I think redoing the dining room, which, when I walk on it, kind of squishes underneath me. And again, I'm pretty heavy, so I get it. But at the same time, it shouldn't move that much. That and just probably equipment maintenance and stuff like that. And good for them. It's still winter, so people aren't eating outside as much, even though it's kind of warmer than it has been this past week. But still, I think it's a good thing for them. Let them get it done now. And if you're in that area and you need your chicken fix, I recommend going across the street to J&J Food Mart. That is some good chicken. Not that Slappy's isn't, but J&J Food Mart does chicken right too. So check them out. Stephanie and I attended the pop-up for the Dragon Fruit Asian Fair at Sir Winston this past Friday night. Yeah, Dragon Fruit Asian Fare is just that, Asian-inspired food. Stephanie had the Mandarin chicken, which was orange sauce, Mandarin orange slices, and scallions served with brown rice. The menu didn't say ginger, but ginger was definitely prevalent, and that's a good thing because ginger is good and good for you. I had the sweet and sour pork, which was pork tenderloin pieces, red and green peppers, pineapple, onion, sweet and sour sauce with brown rice. It was sweet, but not too sweet, kind of syrupy, and I like when the sauce coats the ingredients. I didn't like this one as much as I did blue crab the week before, but it was still good. I don't know that it will be any different really than the other Chinese Asian fusion places around town, but it will be good for the food collective there, the Ford Food Hall at Roar. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good option.
Have that option.
Yeah, it's a good option to have there. We do have reservations for this week, actually tonight, for the Joey Carell American Street Food pop up. We had to move it because, I've had Friday reservations for all these, but they're cutting it short because this weekend is Valentine's Day. So they moved it. They moved everything back a day. So they started it yesterday and will end it Thursday night instead of Friday night. So we're going tonight since, I had to move the Beer Dads because we usually record that on Monday nights, but I moved it and we'll do that and make up for it another time. But speaking of Valentine's Day, I didn't see a lot of places on my end of the list advertising for Valentine's Day. I know the bakeries and the sweet shops and things like that because it's their sweet spot, if you will. But not a lot of restaurants. So I figure the COVID killed a lot of it. And two, it's a Sunday. Valentine's Day is a Sunday. So, I don't know. I'm just guessing at those two things. But Leah, did you see a lot of Valentine's stuff on your side of the list?
No, it's still all Super Bowl stuff even today. I was a little bit surprised that I didn't see more Valentine's Day. And that, all the sweet shops they've been posting for over a week now about.
Get your orders in.
Yep. Yeah. So maybe by the end of the week they'll think about it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but they're, if they're looking for reservations, the longer you go, the quicker, because especially with everybody on half capacity right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, La Carreta on Robin Hood is closed today for some maintenance. It didn't say whether it'll go beyond today, but they mentioned today specifically. Also, if you're listening, Calvin Cottle, you left something there that they think is valuable to you, so go pick it up. they posted, they had a whole post on there. I say a whole post, it was only like 2 lines. If you know Calvin Cottle, who graduated from Mount Tabor in 2020, he left some property here, which we think is important. So I don't know what that means. So
sounds like he left his wallet behind.
Yeah.
Harpies?
Yeah, he'll notice whenever he goes, to do something that he doesn't have it. So hopefully, Calvin finds it. Let's talk Washington Perk and Provision real quick. They're located at 301 West 4th Street. You'll find a little bit of everything at the Perk. Chip Corner, a deli to get your sandwich on the go. Local fruits and veggies, meat and dairy. Bingo Bango sodas, Wolfie's custard, a wall of beer and wine, and more. Washington Perk is better than a convenience store, not quite a grocery store. On Facebook, they're Washington Perk, or at Washington Perk _DTWS on Instagram. Apparently, we're getting a Culver's here in Winston-Salem. It will be beside the Sheets on Fairlawn Drive between Silas Creek and Renolda. Go ahead.
Know what that is.
Well,
what is that?
I had heard of them, but knew nothing of them. Culver's is a fast food chain based in Wisconsin. They started in 1984, and most of their locations are in the Midwest. This will be the 3rd location in North Carolina behind Charlotte, Mooresville, and Salisbury. They are known for the butter burgers, which are smash burgers on buttered buns, and their frozen custard. I have to say, The burger looks delicious, although I probably won't ever have one because I don't do fast food. But it's cool we're getting something new. Building from scratch isn't viable for a lot of local restaurants, so good for whichever franchisee is opening this one. It will at least give local employment opportunities, so that's a plus. I would rather see somebody local put something someplace, but again, building from scratch is usually not an option for local restaurants. So they get some corporate backing here, and that will help them a lot. This past Friday, I don't have this written down, so I'm going on the wing here. My son and my nephew graduated from the Providence Culinary Training program at Providence Culinary Training, what will be Providence Restaurant when they actually build one, and the Triad Community Kitchen. It was allowed one guest per student, and they did 4 classes. So my son was CC 84, which I guess is Culinary Class 84, and they started off with 13 people, but only 3 people finished it. Wow. My son, my nephew, and a third guy named Ethan. Then 85 had 2 people, one of which was in the mountains and didn't show up, but the other person did. 86, which I think's funny, in restaurant business, 86 means you're out of it. Mm-hmm. But 86 had the largest class with 5, and then 87 had 3. So we had, however many that is, 3, 4, 9, and 12. 12 students that graduated. And so that was cool in itself. Then they give each class, they give a golden cutting board, which is to commemorate the top student in each class. And it's voted on from the peers that were in each class made, who they thought it should be, the instructors, and I guess just Chef Bacon himself, and probably Chef Janice as well. And my son won the golden cutting board. Yay! And the cool thing was about that, the 3 of them decided they weren't going to leave it to themselves to pick. So Trey, my son, put Ethan's name down. Ethan put Ryan's name down, and Ryan put Trey's name down. so they did that on purpose, and they forced the instructors to pick, which all of them knew it was going to be Trey. But Trey, when he's up there, he said, "This isn't mine. This is all 3 of us. We did this together." And he was the first one to talk on both the graduation, because he was in alphabetical order in class 84, the first one, and he got the golden. He was the first one with the golden cutting board, so he had to wing it both times, and he did a fantastic job. You can go to Providence, their Providence WS, I think, Facebook page, and you can watch the ceremony there. I was proud of them. The thing that got me the most, though, was afterwards, Chef Vanessa, who has been there for a while. She retired from Providence and moving on to something else, but she did a good speech about her history and why she thought it was important, and of Providence and all that. And then afterwards, I just thanked her for taking care of my world. And she told me of all the students, she knew that this one was the most special. And again, she could have just been blowing smoke, but she told me, she says, "I told Chef Brian, who is taking her place," and she patted him on the back. She says, "You have to take care of Trey, no matter what. You have to take care of Trey." And that was there, and Trey was bawling, and I was crying, and and because it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it does. It is a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I guess the ultimate kicker was, they have the residency program, which means that once you're finished with this, you go on, you get hired, and you do stuff with them. You learn the front of the house, back of the house, catering, all the aspects of working in the restaurant industry. So you go in with more experience and education on how it all goes. Well, I asked Trey about that when we were sitting there. We were front row right in front of the podium. And I said, "Are you not in the residency?" He said, "No, I'm just an employee." And he says, "Because the residents, you get paid this much, and it increases by $1 every year or something." He says, "But I didn't do that. I'm just an employee." Well, after they went through the graduation of all the classes, there was one person in the residency program that was graduating from that aspect, and Chef Jeff told what that meant and all this other stuff. He says, "Trey's part of this. He's a resident. He's in the residency program." And then he goes, "He only thinks he's an employee, but he is actually in the residency." So I heard Trey go, "Huh?" So he was surprised. He's actually in the residency program, and he is a rock star. They mentioned it. Vanessa mentioned it, and I'm telling you. And to prove it, yesterday he made up on the fly for our Super Bowl party. He and my nephew Ryan both made a meatball sub casserole for our Super Bowl. Ooh. Yeah, and they did. They had the meatballs already prepared and the same stuff that they use at Providence, but it was. I don't know what all he put in there. I watched for a little bit, and I'm like, I'm just going to go back in here and sit down because I have my own personal chef. I'm just going to let him do his work.
Nice.
And it was fantastic. And I am so proud of my son and my nephew for going through it, because it's not an easy class. Like I said, 13 people started it and 3 people finished it.
Yeah.
So I'm so proud of them. And as long as they want to be in this business, they'll never want for a job. So
clearly,
yeah,
this is his passion.
It is.
And I'm remembering all of these different steps that have happened for him over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And every single professional that has met him has had the same response. Damn, this boy's good.
Yes. Yes.
He knows what he's got a raw talent for this. Let's hone that. I'm excited for him. I'm real curious. 20 years from now, where is he going to be?
I'm trying my best to talk him into Disney World or some school in Italy or Austria or France. Italy right now has the thing going on. They will basically pay your full tuition and board if you go to school there, because they feel like the Italian position in the world is kind of declining, and they want people to spread the love of Italian food. Now, granted, in the United States, and we have Italian food here that is fantastic, but is it true Italian food? It's Italian food, yes, but it's an Americanized thing here. Mm-hmm. And I've talked to Simon at BLL. I've talked to Tony DeLisio about that, and they say, we have to do this because that's what Americans are going to eat. But I think a true Italian restaurant should be at least considered. I've talked to both Simon and Tony about doing a specifically private, full-on Italian feast. The two of them getting together and doing it.
Oh, man.
And Maria, Tony's wife, and Simon both are into it. And Tony said, Simon said he was going to talk to Tony. I don't know that he did. I mentioned it to Maria, and Maria says, I'm going to make sure Tony knows. So that could be something coming. I mean, we have to be mindful of distancing and all that stuff, but
Right.
it's something that could come up. I hope that it does, because I would love to see traditional Italian food.
Traditional Italian food is not what we think of as Italian food in this country. It's not overly seasoned and just, it's allowing the natural ingredients to shine through.
Yep.
It's much lighter than what we consider to be Italian fare.
Yep. Yeah. So I want to see that happen. But the point is, I'm proud of my boy. I'm proud of what he's doing. I'm proud of the potential that he is showing, and he's gung ho about all of it, because he introduced me to Chef Brian. He introduced me to, and Chef Brian, if you're listening, hello, because he did say he follows us. So
nice.
So congratulations on having a superstar in this kitchen with you. But yeah, so all's well there. Leah, anything going on?
That's really exciting. Congratulations, man.
Thank you so very much. I mean, I know I'm bragging a lot and I'm talking a lot, but damn it, that's my boy, and I'm one proud papa.
Don't stop. Keep it up.
Anything on your side of the list we need to know about, Leah?
I was just going to share that Providence obviously loves you, because they made a whole post about everything you just talked about. So,
yeah.
That was my main thing when I came across. I saw your name. I was like, oh, wait. Oh, this is Providence. Oh, yep. Check. So,
awesome.
No, same old people. Their posts are still about Super Bowl. So,
yeah.
Just keep on watching.
Hope they know that that's over now. Maybe they're still asleep.
It could be.
Recovering.
All right, now it's time for Getting in Your Business, and we want to welcome someone very special to me for several reasons, and we'll talk about some of those here in just a second. She is co-owner of Well Balanced Nutrition, and she is my personal nutritionist and my guide through like I talked last week, not being pre-diabetic, and instead of working towards that, working away from it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Kristen Norton.
Hi. So glad to be here.
I feel like instead of woo, it should be like the crunching of carrots noise, or like.
I wish I had that sound effect.
We just need to get some carrots.
Yeah, I do actually like carrots, so that'd be okay. So, Kristen, let's start off with talking about what Well Balanced Nutrition is. It's not just a good idea; it's the name of your company. So, what is Well Balanced Nutrition, and what do you do?
Well Balanced Nutrition is a private practice. Myself and another registered dietitian, where we act as nutrition coaches to help people make baby steps towards a healthier diet, a healthier lifestyle, and without necessarily going to an extreme. So we call it Well Balanced Nutrition because we're very lifestyle oriented. We don't, we're not married to one specific diet. We really work with an individual to come up with something that's going to work for them, what's going on in their life, their health needs, and all of that. So that's what we do.
Well, I know I told you this the day, full disclosure, I produce the podcast that you do with Eleanor Russell, who is a Shackley representative, who, she's into healthy things too. And you guys, your podcast is called Health Geeks Book Club Podcast. And when we were going through the first recordings of that, and I'm sitting there thinking, this one I found out that in my mind anyway, I could have been pre-diabetic, and I just can't handle that. But I told you when we met about my nutrition regimen, if you will, that I was kind of scared, because I I don't eat, and this is my mantra, this is what I've said for many, many years. I don't eat for sustenance, I eat for sport. And I could not afford mentally or my job, the man who ate the town,
Right.
to do a lot of restrictive diet. But at the same time, it's not a matter of restrictive diet. And I am more, instead of a addition by subtraction, I am a subtraction by addition kind of person. So not what do I have to get rid of, but what can I add to either offset or replace some of the things I don't need. What I don't need, I know, is French fries, white bread, which does come in a problem when I'm having burgers, because a lot of burgers are not coming on whole wheat buns. So there are things like that, white rice, anything bleached generally, and white flour based, which is also bleached. And getting rid of those simple carbs that are unnecessary and replacing them with complex carbs like brown rice, which and when you listen to the rest of this, you'll hear what I talked about that I had on Friday included brown rice specifically because of you.
Is that a complaint?
No,
or
not
is that
at all. Because I love brown rice. And another thing,
you.
yeah, no. Because you told me to, and I try to follow directions when I can. As long as, like I told you, as long as I can convince myself that it was my idea, right? So, I love quinoa, so I will be adding more of that. I did in the thing that I sent you, 2 different kinds, the pearl and the the smaller brown quinoa that was in the Yamas bowl that I had last week. But the thing I wanted to really mention to you, I think I told you through an email or something, was I had gone to the doctor and found out that I was not pre-diabetic, but my triglycerides were ridiculous through the roof. And I'm working on those as well. Plus, my weight was more than I ever thought it would be. It was 321. And I don't care to tell anybody that. I'm a large guy, and I will always be a large guy, but I have to reduce some of the largeness and get to better, healthier mindedness in my largeness. So my doctor, whenever I told him, I read the email that you sent me with our what we had discussed and what we agreed upon, and he was excited about every bit of it. And he says, okay, so I'm going to go along with this too. He says, I don't care if you have burgers every day. It's not good. But if you're going, he said, I don't care the fat. We know from the keto diet, your body will take care of the fat and the protein. But when you have the fat and the protein along with these complex or these simple carbs, your body has a hard time dealing with that. Also, he was very excited about the fasting and increasing the fasting time. And I will tell you, with the exception of one day, it was at least 12 hours, mostly 14, 15-hour fasts.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I have been getting up. I didn't this morning because I didn't feel good yesterday and I was exhausted and I just needed the rest. But every Monday through Friday since we started talking, I have gotten up at least at 7 o'clock in the morning and walked. And I talked about walking up the hill to my parents', which is several flights of stairs according to my Samsung Health Watch here. And Friday alone, I had almost 3 miles walking. And so I have made an effort. If I'm going someplace, I park away, so I have to walk those extra steps to get to where I'm going. This is, and I want you to know, Kristen, this is not just, okay, I'm doing this to placate for now and we'll revert back. I do not plan on reverting. I plan on this being a lifestyle change. But like I told you in pregame for this, I also will continue to have the weekends to myself. And that's I'll eat the shit that I want to then, and then go back to healthier eating during the week. But that's only a start anyway. It may be that I get more used to the healthier stuff. And nothing said you didn't say and he didn't say I couldn't still enjoy what I eat and have some time for myself. Like you said in your introduction, it's not about one strict diet. You do it based on the individual.
Exactly.
So all that coming back to what I started to say here was I was scared to death when we first started talking. And when I left the Zoom call with you, I felt good as all get out about what we were doing. And it wasn't scary. So for our listeners, this getting a nutritionist, dietitian, whatever you want to call her, to talk with you about what you're eating and how you're eating is not a scary thing, especially with Kristen. She
I was going to say, why are you scared of her? It's not like she's, some she's just this mean person that's going to tear you apart.
Well, I'm scared. I was scared because, I mean, what do I have? I have my family, I have my music, my podcast, and food. And I thought I was going to have to give up some food, and that scared me. And plus, it's registered dietitian. I'm like, oh God, I'm going to tell her. And I told you too, we're straight up, I don't like this. I don't like this. I won't eat this right here. And you're like, okay.
I didn't cringe one bit, did I?
No, you didn't. You said, what about this? I'm like, I can do that. All right. Problem solved. So I have been eating more beans. I have been eating more brown rice. I have been eating less white bread. I did have two hot dogs last night during the Super Bowl. So, again, it was a weekend. It was my time.
Right.
I have tried to find healthier bread options instead of just white-based bread. I know ciabatta is white-based, but I gotta go with what's in front of me. I have tried to do salads instead of fries. I have tried to do all the things that we talked about. I've tried my best to incorporate those, and I have to say, I have enjoyed it. I still enjoy eating.
It? Yes. That's the best.
I still enjoy eating. I enjoyed what I've been eating, how I've been eating, how I felt after eating. Now, I know the scale in my house, there are some discrepancies between mine and the one at the doctor. I was 321 at the doctor. This morning I got on the scale here. I was 313. So I'm down. Some. I'm sure there's still probably a pound or 7 that are different from what the doctor's is. The nurse even told me at the doctor she's been complaining that's about 50 pounds off for since she's worked there. But yeah, the whole point of all my ranting here, not ranting, but my verbosity here is to tell the listeners that getting a dietitian, nutritionist, what do you prefer? What do you prefer to go by? Kristen.
Nutritionist.
Get yourself a Kristen, and and fear not what she's going to tell you, because you will still enjoy eating, and you will feel better about yourself, and you will feel better physically from doing it. And I have to tell you, Kristen, and my doctor thanks you. I thank you. My wife thanks you. It's just, I feel mentally better about myself knowing that I'm still getting to enjoy it and I'm doing healthier stuff. I don't like getting up and walking, but no pain, no gain. So,
well, and how do you feel afterwards? Don't you feel great after you do it?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, but I just dread doing it every day.
Right. Well, it makes my heart happy that to hear you say, you're still really enjoying food. Our slogan is remember to enjoy the journey. And
Yes.
a lot of people on the outside are like, what does that have to do with food? But really, with
Everything.
well-balanced nutrition, we are not about taking the joy out of food. We're trying to find the balance where that joy is, where we can be mindful about the experience and eat foods that make us feel great. So that makes me really happy to hear you say that.
Well, again, I thank you. My family thanks you. My mother, again, and my father both, when I told them, and especially once the doctor jumped on and was ecstatic about it. Everyone, even those who don't know you, thank you and love you for it.
Wow. Awesome. Well, you're welcome.
So, Ray and Leah, do you have any questions for Kristen?
Yes.
Go ahead, Leah.
Go ahead.
Ask away.
So, Kristen, how long have you been doing this?
Oh, I have been a dietitian since 2008.
Okay. So, how long does it take for a person to stop demanding or saying, no, I'm not going to do this. No, I'm going to do that. Like, how long does that time frame take that people begin to realize, oh, wait a minute, maybe I should do some of that?
That's interesting.
One conversation
people don't
for
come to
me.
me when they're on the fence. People come to me when they're ready. So when I worked in a clinic, I had to do a lot of convincing. Like, you could maybe make this change, and they're like, no, I'm just here because my doctor told me, and I'm going to appease my doctor. But with private practice, what's nice is the people who are ready to make that change, they come and we talk, and I usually don't have to twist anybody's arm.
Like I said, one conversation is all it took for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you were also motivated.
Sure.
You did not want to be diabetic.
Right.
And Kristen can help you avoid that scenario. I mean, I find it interesting. Whitney is also, my wife is in a program now through Blue Cross Blue Shield, again, on dietary issues, because they believe that they can cure the type of diabetes that she has, that it can be reversed if we do the right things, if we're eating correctly, we pay attention to these things. I mean, Tim, I'm right there with you. I'm feeling I need to make some changes, because at some point you got to stop expanding.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as we get older,
Expansion is good in business, not in bodies.
Right. So, you add a pound or 2 or 3 in a year. Well, that's no big deal. But 10 years down the road, now you've got 30 extra pounds.
Right.
I mean, I look at where I was 10 years ago, and I probably weighed 35, 40 pounds less. So how do I reverse that trend? And it's not I'll just not eat for a week and I'll be good. I'll lose all that weight. No, it's a process. It's a lifestyle change. It's what you're experiencing. You make different choices, not choices that lead you to, I hate this, but choices that say, you know what? I'm going to enjoy the salad because actually this is really good salad and I didn't need the fries. And your choice of, I'm going to park a little further out in the parking lot. Okay, so you might only get an extra 50 yards of walking, but that's 50 yards more of walking. You're moving. It's all those little things that add up.
That's a couple hundred steps.
Yeah. And you keep doing that consistently over the course of a week, you start to add another mile or 2 or 3 to what you're doing. It all adds up.
Ray, I need you to be a spokesperson for well-balanced nutrition. That was very well said.
Well, I mean, it's the same kind of conversations that I've had with so many health professionals over the years. I mean, most of what we experience in health problems in this country today can be traced back exactly to our level of activity and how much we're eating.
I would say
And what we're
95% of the health crises or whatever they're called are are from the combination of what we eat and our activity level.
Oh, yeah. Our society is just not set up to allow for the healthiest eating and walking.
The cheapest food that's out there is the food that's the least healthy for us.
Exactly. Yeah. My kids are getting free food from school sent home, and it's stuff that I don't allow them to bring in the house otherwise. But that's what we can afford on the budget to feed the kids. So yeah, it's got to change at a bigger scale, that's for sure.
How do we do that?
Policy. More money going into feeding our children and changing the prices at the grocery store. A long time ago, I went to a conference and the keynote speaker was talking about how, the high quality organic foods, they cost more money and it's a sacrifice, but you're voting with your money. You're voting for sustainable practices. You're voting for the planet with that money. So I've always kind of looked at it like that. If it's in my budget and I can afford this, maybe my vote is going to eventually change the way things are done.
So let me ask you a question. You may or may not know this answer. What is it about organic food, which in theory has a lot less done to it, a lot less process, a lot less touching of it? Why is it more expensive than the food that has gone through the machines, has gone through so many people handling it, has gone through all the procedures and all that stuff? Why is it that food that it just seems counterproductive in any kind of business that the more labor you have on it, the more expensive the food will be? Yet organic food, which again in theory is less touched and less dealt with, is more expensive.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I think two things. One is that the organic farmers have to pay a lot of money to have that certification.
Right.
And the second one is when you're not using when you're using only organic pesticides and trying to turn over the soil and protect the plants from the bugs yourself, that is a lot more labor actually.
So
than just spraying on the pesticides and leaving them alone.
So could the policy be directed more toward lower cost ground level implementation than the actual process of the food? So what I mean is, pesticides, why does it have to cost that much that's organic, that doesn't do harm? Why does it cost them so much to get certified like that? I understand making sure that they go through a rigorous process, but why does it cost them so much? Can we lower the cost of that? Again,
a lot of that is going to be with implementation.
That's what I'm saying. Ground level instead of the aftermath.
Well, let's take TVs, for example. When we started seeing flat screen TVs first hitting the market, a 40, 50 inch television was $2,000-$3,000
more.
You can go out there and get one today for $300-$400. More of those are being produced. They've ramped it up. The production costs have come down. So now it's a whole lot easier for us to get those for a lot less. We've got to see more farmers switching over to organic methods. The pesticides that they can use are going to cost more because it's not just cheap chemicals that they throw in there and just spread all over the place.
Right.
Those kind of things, the more people do it, then the cost will come down for them, and then the cost savings can be passed on to us. It's all a matter of priorities.
Well, supply and demand. So,
yeah.
So the question, I guess, there goes to, why can't we, they try to enforce all these other things and implement like the fossil fuel free and 2036 or whatever they said. So why can't we have something only organic food in 2030, and then we're all on the same level playing field, and not some of them doing this stuff that costs extra, and some of them are just getting by with what they can, and we deal with healthy food across the board and not just healthy food for some who can afford it and the shitty food for those who can't.
There's a lot of companies that have a lot of money that are fighting against that right now.
No, I know. And we have to get rid of the special interests on both sides of the aisles are there. So we
I would say it's not the special interest as much as let's go take it back down to the root cause. The root cause, from my perspective, is there's way too much focus on profit. It's about the greed. How much profit do you actually need to make? We have a major retailer in this country that refuses to pay its workers at a living wage. They're being paid at a starvation wage, and many of their employees are on government food stamps. So the government is underwriting their employment practices. We need to stop that kind of thing from happening. Don't worry about the profit as much as worry about the people. You give folks quality food, we will have an amazing impact on our society as a whole.
And the profits will raise automatically.
Yeah.
If everyone's playing on a level playing field, they're not going to lose profit. Yes, they might be able to.
How much profit is enough?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, at what point do you go, all right, enough? I mean, we look at our economic system the way it stands today, and we have a few people, a few corporations that are hoarding billions of dollars. In an organic system, things need to flow from place to place, just like our body. If we get one part of our body that's suddenly collecting all of the blood, you're going to have a really sick person and they're going to die. It's not going to work. All that needs to go throughout the entire system. So the way our system is set up now, it's unhealthy. And there's a whole lot of stuff that needs to be dismantled. And it starts with somebody like Tim looking in the mirror going, I got to make some change.
Yep. That was well said, Ray. Sounds like there's conviction in your voice. I like it. Leah, do you have any, you were nodding and smiling the whole time. You have anything to add to all that?
Well, I was just going to be like, and this political commentary brought to you by the Yeah, at the end of the day, it's about policy, right? I mean, if these big corporations wouldn't be doing what they're doing if the policies didn't allow for that.
Or even encourage it.
Well, encourage it, right? And who made up those rules? So, all these rules are made up, and so how do we, at the end of the day, figure out what it is that we need to do? So any change in this world has always come from grassroots movement.
Yeah.
And people getting together. So, at the end of the day, it's probably going that way. And people making small changes and just realizing what their health needs. And so, yeah.
Kristen, what would you think is the most common stumbling block that you see for people making these kind of changes?
I would say an all or nothing approach. They think that they have to be perfect or they're going to give up. So they'll come to me and they'll say, well, I did this diet and then I fell off. And so now I'm eating 2 boxes of Girl Scout cookies right now. That was like one extreme or the other. And we're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's okay to have 2 Girl Scout cookies, 2 boxes. Well, that's probably because you went on one extreme or the other. So that's kind of all or nothing.
Only had
actions
2.
or even thinking.
I only had 2 boxes. Girl Scout cookie boxes are much smaller than regular cookie boxes.
Right.
There's only like 12 in them now.
Yeah, that's awful. So, what can the average client, I don't want to say customer, client expect whenever they contact Well Balanced Nutrition? the first time?
Yeah, so our first conversation is usually what's going on in your life? Usually there's a fire under somebody to want to change. So is it, you've got some family history that you want to not run into, or maybe your blood sugars are high or your cholesterol is high. So we talk about, what is your goal and motivation, and what is it you're looking for? Now, I have had to turn a couple people down because they just wanted fast weight loss. Well, there's weight loss medical clinics where you can take medicine and such, so that's not going to be me. So we just have a quick conversation, what is it that you're hoping to accomplish? And then if we decide that we are a good fit, we schedule a 90-minute session, which is a full assessment of your lifestyle, your stress, your sleep, and your eating habits. And we talk about what grocery store you shop at, how often you're cooking at home, so I can really get the big picture before I dive into giving any advice. And then from there, we usually pick 2 or 3 main focus areas that we can establish some baby steps towards. For some people, that's cooking at home more often. For other people, it might be working on having that fast at night. And I love talking about fruits and vegetables, so that's usually on top of everybody's goal list, is to have more of those. And then accountability sessions often follow after that, where we just check in and see how things are going. And we either talk about barriers that got in the way, or we predict what might get in the way and come up with a plan of attack for how we can more or less stay on track if something threatens to slow us down.
Now, all full disclosure here, my first session with Kristen started off with 20 minutes of me telling all the bad things that I do and don't want to do. I was so scared going in there. I'm like, I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I won't. And after about 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I'm like, okay, now I know this is not how this goes. So tell me how you do it. And she's like, well, you already told me some things, but then she fixed it. But don't go in there doing that. Go in trusting them to go in trusting her to do what she does, because you will not be sorry for it. I'm not at all sorry for it. I appreciate everything she told me that day, and continues to tell me. She did tell me I kick ass on what I'm doing, so that made me feel good. So
you are doing great.
Yeah.
Well, and you still have control. That's the thing, is it's probably some of it's losing control, like feeling like you're losing control, but you still have control of it.
Right.
It's just how you modify that control. But yeah, we end up getting in that defense mechanism instead of,
because we're already feeling guilty about it.
Well, yeah.
Well, and that's exactly what it was, and I was afraid I was not going to have control over what I ate. And the fact is, I have full control over it.
Well, yeah, because she didn't come to your house and camped out in front of your refrigerator, is she?
No, she didn't.
I am not the food police.
Yeah, and only thing truly that boils down to her giving me guidance on the proper things to eat, not things to completely eliminate. And that's still my choice. All of it's my choice. I mean, it's everybody's choice. They can just say, screw this and do what they want. On the weekends, I might still do that. But I do it with mindful intent. So even when I have my own stuff, I'll opt for different choices in it to make sure that, because it's not about pleasing Dr. Raganisi. It's not about pleasing Kristen Norton. It's about staying alive and being healthier.
Yeah.
And that's my decision. This is going to sound conceited. I'm not conceited. I'm convinced. I have a lot to offer this world, and I can't do it if I'm not here.
Ding, ding, ding.
So,
Yep.
So that's why I listened to my dietitian, my nutritionist, my doctor, and my wife, because I love me some me, and I want to be here for me and for everybody else.
Yes, I love that.
So, Kristen,
and I appreciate too that the approach that you're taking is not about shaming or guilting folks. It's about just, hey, let's deal with an honest situation. This is really where you are. And here are some very practical steps that you can take. Not, again, about shaming you or guilting you. It's like you want to make a change. You want to get your body to be in a better place. Here are the steps that we take. We could start running, but generally you need to start crawling and take those baby steps, and then you can walk, and then you can work about running and go on into a marathon level. But let's start off here at the easy parts.
Yes, again, Ray, are you for hire?
Yes.
I certainly am at the crawling stage, and I understand this. But
you're rapidly moving into walking, my friend.
Yeah.
Right? You're building momentum quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact
you're
is,
not crawling anymore. You're definitely on 2 feet.
The fact is, with my life, I started walking before I was really crawling. I was walking at 8 months old. Now, the funny thing is that my mom said I wasn't as much walking as running because my head would just go forward, and I would just go until I hit something or just gravity took control. But I was walking
at 8 months old and talking at 3 months old.
Yeah. And I haven't stopped either one. So, Kristen, how can the listeners find you?
They can go to wellbalancednutrition.com.
Are you on Facebook and things like that?
Yes. So Facebook is Well Balanced Nutrition NC, and Instagram is the same.
Excellent. Well, do you have anything else that you want the listeners to know about Well Balanced Nutrition or anything else? This is your moment.
I don't know when this will come out, but it is Heart Health
about
Month.
3:00 today.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So February is Heart Health Month, and we are doing a free webinar. You can find that information on our Facebook page, a free webinar Wednesday at 12 o'clock. That's this Wednesday.
Awesome.
Yep.
That is the
10th.
day? 10th.
10th.
Yeah.
Yep, the 10th, and we're going to be talking about what the research says behind lifestyle change and how we can protect our heart when you have high cholesterol or high blood pressure. And it should be fun. You can find that at our Facebook page.
Well Balanced Nutrition NC.
Yes.
Excellent. Kristen Norton, again, I cannot thank you enough for all that you've done for me in the little time that you've done for me. I'm going to say it. I love you. I love you for what you are and who you are. My wife says the same thing. When I told her all that and she sees what I'm doing, she says, tell Kristen I love her and thank you. So all of the listeners need to at least look into your health situation. And if you deem it worthy to make a choice to change your eating routine, I implore you all to contact Kristen and let her help you on your new journey and enjoy the journey.
That's right. Thank you, Tim. Well, I love you right back, and it is so fun to watch the changes that you're making, and like I said, makes my heart happy.
Excellent.
I'd love to bring you back and have a good conversation about when you're eating out. How do you do that and still be healthy?
Ooh, that would be really fun.
Yeah, so let's say a month from now we get you back on and have that conversation.
Perfect. March is National Nutrition Month, so I like it.
All right, excellent.
Yay.
I will talk to you. Actually, I'll talk to you tomorrow, right?
Yes.
I have a session with you
I'll
tomorrow.
I'll be recording Health Geeks podcast tomorrow.
Yes, so we'll talk more about that and get something on the book.
Okay. Great.
Thanks
again for having me today.
Absolutely. Miss Kristen Norton, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And then there were three.
And God bless her for putting up with you.
I know. it was, man. When I first went on there, the first at least 10 minutes, I'm thinking it was probably close to 15, 20, was me just starting off, I'm not going to do this, and why I'm not interested, and I don't want to, and I can't, and then I just like shriveled up and said, I'm sorry, tell me what I'm supposed to do. And she's like, no, here we have this information and we're going with this. And she says, can you? And I'm like, yeah. Would you? Yeah. My job's done. Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably good for you to get all of that out.
Yeah.
Get it off your chest, all of the fear
that
you had about what was going to happen. I really appreciate that her approach is just, hey, I want to work with you. I want to help you figure this out. It's not about shame and not about guilt. Just here's where we are. Figure out where we're trying to go. And here's the steps that we take to get to that point.
Yeah. When we were done, it wasn't tail between the legs kind of thing. It was a feel good about my prospects, I guess, of healthier. And it was just an amazing thing. She is an amazing person that does amazing things. So,
and she didn't make you eat asparagus.
No, I told her that was absolutely no. Asparagus.
We had some last week, and we ate it in honor of you.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah.
Have all you want, because that's
Jim
less.
Would not love this, but man, it's good.
Yeah. I told her I said no asparagus and no beets. So anything after that, I will at least consider.
I'm with you on the beets. I'm not real fond of beets. Now, Whitney, love spades.
No, I can go outside and lick the ground if I want to taste earth. That's all I need to do.
That's too funny.
Have you seen the specials menu at Diamondback Grill? When I say specials menu, I mean the themed days of the week, from prime rib to vegetarian base. And I know that's a strange combo, the prime rib and vegetarian base together. Burgers, Mediterranean fare. Yeah, they cover everything. So Diamondback is full of flavor. You won't be disappointed with the things there. I do recommend the hush puppy, the lump crab hush puppies with the sriracha butter, honey butter that they have. It's really, really good. They have drink specials, a cozy fireplace, wonderful owners, all tucked away in Buena Vista. Not Buena Vista, but Buena Vista. Get hungry.
Right way to say it.
Yeah, that's the proper way. Get hungry, order takeout, and find out more by visiting diamondbackgrill.com. Let's do some food holidays.
Let's.
Today is the 8th of February, and it is Molasses Bar Day, which, molasses bars are cookie. It's a cookie.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a cookie. I had to look it up. It's a cookie. On the 8th in 1910, the Boy Scouts of America was incorporated.
Interesting.
In 1922, U.S. President Warren G. Harding had a radio installed at the White House. I wonder what they mean by installed. I mean, did they not just wheel it in and set it up?
They mounted it into the wall.
We've been watching The Crown on Netflix, and I say we've been watching. I started watching. Stephanie's been watching it, and when she decided to start over with me, we started this weekend, and we're about 4 or 5 episodes in. But I find it very interesting, and the reason I brought that up was the fact that they relied heavily on the radio and all the commonwealths that they had around the world to, basically let everybody know that King George VI, who was Elizabeth's dad, had passed away. And it was just like radio was such a big thing back then. And I can see why, but it just was. On the 9th, it's National Pizza Day. And may I suggest BLL Rotisserie Factory for the pizza because they have fantastic pizza. Or
And what goes best with pizza?
beer.
Beer.
It's gonna be like, this is Ray asking, chocolate?
No,
beer.
pizza
Right.
and beer. You know, that's just, it's the classic.
Yeah. And also Mission Pizza has delicious pizza as well. So if you want Napolitana style pizza, go to Mission. If you want pizza, go to BLL. Or Slice of Napoli, they're good too. It's also National Bagels and Lox Day, and I have seen a lot of people asking about bagel and lox, but no one has found a place that I can tell. I know that Bagel Station has the bagels. I don't think they're making available the lox part. So
They used to, but I haven't been over there in a while.
yeah, so they may do it, but I know that you can get lox if that's what you want at Clementine's, but it's not. But you may be able to get a bagel there too. I don't know, but so try that if that's what you want. I like lox by itself. I don't need the bagel. In 1870, on the 9th, the creation of the U.S. Weather Service, the National Weather Service, was authorized by Congress. This is a big day, the 9th, for government agencies because the next year, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service began as the U.S. Commission on Fish and Fisheries, created to study and recommend solutions to the decline of stocks of food fish. And in 1889, on the 9th, the U.S. Department of Agriculture was established as a cabinet-level agency. But bringing back, it's not pizza, but Ray's other favorite thing. In 1894, Hershey's Chocolate Company was founded as a subsidiary of Milton S. Hershey's Lancaster Caramel Company.
Nice chocolate.
And did you know that Hershey's chocolate is 1 year older than volleyball? Because
I did not know that.
in 1895, on the same day, a year later, volleyball, originally called mintonette, was invented by William G. Morgan, the physical
What a great name.
the physical education director at the YMCA in Holyoke, Massachusetts.
Huh. Interesting that it started at the Y. Didn't basketball start the same way? Some
think
guy
so.
just like trying to figure out what to do with the kids and literally just hung up a basket and people were shooting into it.
I think it was a fruit basket.
Yeah.
Yep. In 1960, on the 9th, Adolf Coors, the grandson of the Coors Brewery founder, was kidnapped and held for ransom. He was later found shot to death.
Oh. Thanks for bringing us up with that delightful story.
You're welcome. Hey, but Hershey's chocolate, just remember.
Yes, and pizza day.
Yes. On the 10th, it's National Cream Cheese Brownie Day.
Oh, those are good.
Yeah, I can go with it. On the 10th in 1933, the Postal Telegraph Company of New York City delivers the first singing telegram. In 1957, the styrofoam cooler was invented on the 10th.
Nice.
In
We needed those, right?
Yeah. At the time, I guess we did. We didn't know what effects that would have on the environment. Then again, they still make them, so there you go. In 1990, on the 10th, Perrier recalls its entire inventory of Perrier mineral water, about 160 million bottles, in the United States after tests show the presence of benzene, a carcinogen, in a small sample of bottles.
Ow.
I guess they got that worked out.
I guess so. I don't remember that, but I really don't drink Perrier anyway.
I love Perrier. It holds its flavor longer than Pellegrino. On the 11th of February, it's National Peppermint Patty Day. I am a
chocolate. Yes.
Dark chocolate if it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also Don't Cry Over Spilled Milk Day. I don't know why we have to have a day for that, but that's okay.
Just to remind us, don't cry.
Yeah, I don't. Milk, don't cry. Okay, in 1752, on the 11th, the first hospital in America was opened in Philadelphia. In 1811, on the 11th, Robert Fulton was issued the first patent for a steamboat. In 1922, Frederick Grant Banting announces the discovery of insulin used to treat diabetes at the University of Toronto with 3 other colleagues, all whose names were all initials and stuff, and I decided I didn't need to go through all that. On the 11th, in 1963, Julia Child's The French Chef premiered on television. In 1977, on the 11th, a new record lobster was caught off of Nova Scotia, weighing in at 44 pounds, 6 ounces.
44-pound lobster?
Yes.
That's a big mem and gemma right there.
Yes, it is. It's a lot of tamale and a lot of tail. And I guess the claws, too, if you're into that.
Wow.
On the 11th in 1994, use of the genetically engineered growth hormone for cows, RBGH, begins, and controversy immediately abounds and still happens today.
Mm-hmm.
In 2009, on the 11th, India's largest Hindu nationalist group announced that they are developing a soft drink called Gal Jal, made from cow urine and flavored with herbs. After testing, it should be ready, they said, for sale within a few months of this date in 2009. In India, cow urine is believed by many to have healing properties. I think so. It would make me vomit. So all that stuff that I'd eaten that was bad would be gone.
Come up.
Yeah.
I just keep hearing the old line about what we say about bad beer. This tastes like horse piss.
Yeah. This tastes like
cow piss with herbs in it. I don't know. Really? Okay. Y'all go. Another reason I'm not going back to India.
Going back? Have you been
there?
to India?
No, I've never been there. I don't know why I said back.
All right. On the 12th, it's National Plum Pudding Day. I've heard a lot about plum pudding, but I've never had it that I know of.
You know a chef. Maybe you should get him to make one. Try it.
I should. Especially, he's not a pastry guy, but I need to get a baker or a pastry person to make a plum pudding or something. On the 12th, in 1872, Silas Noble and James P. Cooley of Massachusetts patented a toothpick-making machine. I want to know who it was that came up with the machine that made them taste like mint. That's what I want. On the 12th in 1976, the popular food coloring red dye number 2 was banned by the FDA because studies had shown it might cause cancer. Red M&Ms.
You give 47 pounds of this material to somebody, they might get cancer.
Yeah. If you're eating 42 pounds of red dye number 2,
you got issues.
Red M&Ms disappeared for about 11 years after the ban. I think they eventually came back. They are now back red.
Yeah, but I don't think they're using the same dye. It's a different dye now.
This is dye 2.1. I'm kidding. I don't know what it is. On the 13th, it's National Tortellini Day. I like tortellini. In 1822, on the 13th, Jeremiah Bailey of Chester County, Pennsylvania, patented the first practical mower of grass-cutting machine. The two-wheeled mower was horse-drawn and could mow 10 acres a day. So if it was horse-drawn, you could cut it and fertilize it all at the same time.
Yep.
You
want to be in the front in that case, not in the back.
Not back.
Yeah.
Lead the horses, don't trail them.
In 1826, the American Temperance Society was established in Boston, advocating the total abstinence from distilled beverages, to which I say, boo, hiss. In 1923, Joseph Rosefield of Almada, California, received a patent for a new process to manufacture peanut butter. The process prevented oil separation in peanut butter, creating the first shelf-stable peanut butter that would stay fresh for up to a year because oil didn't separate from the peanut butter. We
love this guy.
He licensed another company to make Peter Pan peanut butter in 1923, which is my favorite. And in 1932, his own company, Rosefield Packing Company, began marketing Skippy peanut butter.
We love the guy that figured out how to keep the oil from separating in peanut butter.
Thank you very much, Joseph Rosefield. On the 13th in 1933, the House of Commons defeated a bill that would have prohibited the sale of alcohol in the United Kingdom. So, yay to them. Boo to the American Temperance. Boo to the American Temperance Society. Yay to the House of Commons. In 2000, on the 13th, the last original Peanuts comic strip was published.
Yeah. Sad day. Sad day. Still love that comic.
Yep. On the 14th, it is, of course, Valentine's Day, one of the busiest days of the year for restaurants. And
Happy VD!
Happy VD Day. Restaurants, floral shops, greeting card shops, chocolatiers, and so on. It's also National Cream-Filled Chocolates Day. I am a fan of cream-filled chocolates, the orange cream and the butter cream and the hazelnut cream, and I like
Interesting day to pick creamed chocolate.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Valentine's Day. And
Happy VD.
Happy VD. On the 14th in 1803, Moses Coates of Downingtown, Pennsylvania, received a patent for a machine for paring apples. In 1871, Thomas Adams of Hudson City, New Jersey, received a patent for a method of producing chewing gum. In 1886, on the 14th, California oranges were first shipped east by rail. 1922, the Fleischmann Company registered Fleischmann's trademark for yeast, which was first used in 1876. So that's what, 48 years
before they decided to get the patent.
Yeah, let's get the trademark now that everybody knows it's out there.
I've got some Fleischmann's in my cabinets right now.
Yeah, I do too. On the 14th in 1923, the Velveeta Cheese Company is incorporated as a separate company in Monroe, New York. Velveeta had been invented in 1918 by Emil Fry of the Monroe Cheese Company. Velveeta cheese was packaged using a 1921 invention of a tinfoil lining that could handle or house the cheese made inside. House the cheese inside a wooden box. Its special cooking properties quickly caught on. When melted, it was as smooth as velvet, hence its name. It would never curdle when heated, and it was acquired by Kraft in 1927. So from incorporation in 1918 to 9 years later being sold to the now one of the largest companies in the world, that's huge. And I have to admit, as much as it's not any good for any of us, I love Velveeta. I
used to as a kid.
I love it with some sausage and rotel inside of it.
Oh, now that, yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as a kid, my grandmother used to just cut us slices and hand it to us. And, we loved it then. Now I'm like, I don't want a slice.
No.
But, yeah.
You got to melt it.
As an ingredient.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, yeah.
So that's all the food holidays in history for this week. Special thanks to James Eagler at foodreference.com for making us chuckle, roll our eyes, get really excited about Hershey's anniversary, make us all grossed out by cow piss, soft drinks, and
that's nasty.
And thank you to, again, Joseph Rosefield for creating the best peanut butter ever.
Yes, thank you. What else would we eat if we didn't have that?
I don't know. The Man Who Ate the Town podcast is part of the Less Desirables Network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to the not the Man Who Ate the Town, that's us. The Less Desirables, the Beer Dads, Fan Interference, Beeswax, Vinyl, and more coming in the next few weeks. Wheeler's Dog and Asylum Tales from the Devereaux Diaries podcast. You can find all these podcasts and latest episodes on our network website and directory, tldpodnetwork.com. You can also find all those podcasts on any of the platforms you find podcasts now, like Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Pandora, all that stuff. It's there. This is your reminder to all the listeners, and this is a good practice, not just now, but for always. Wash your damn hands. Wash with warm water and soap.
Warm soap.
Yeah,
And-
warm soap
yeah,
and warm water. Wash with that soap for about 20 seconds. If you have any questions about how long 20 seconds is, just sing this song along with this song. I say, there we go.
This speech is my recital. I think it's very vital to rock around. That's right.
On time.
It's tricky. It's uptight. Here we go. It's tricky to rock around. To rock around. That's right. On time. It's tricky. It's tricky. 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 It's tricky to rock around. To rock around. That's right. On time. It's tricky. Tricky. Tricky.
I met this little girlie. Her
So,
hair was kinda curly.
if you could have seen all of us, and Ray's got his hoodie up. If you could have seen all three of us dancing, that would have been sad, but cool.
You would have
memory.
run.
So, Tricky was released on this date in 1986.
Oh, so there was a reason why we used that song.
There was exactly a reason why. It was on the album Raising Hell from Run DMC, released on the 31st of December of that year, and this was the second single after Walk This Way, which was their version, along with Steven Tyler and Joe Perry of Aerosmith.
They actually did a really good cover of that.
I did. I enjoyed that
I
better
liked
than
the
the
cover.
original. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't like Aerosmith, so there. I said it.
because they're not Kiss.
No, they're not. I saw
wish they
them
were.
together. I saw them together, actually. And,
Really?
And yeah, Kiss, luckily, was wasn't the opener. They just went on first. And about 6 songs into Aerosmith, I walked out. And the thing is, I've been to 3 Aerosmith concerts and walked out of all 3 of them.
Wow.
I didn't pay for a single one of them, but I just couldn't bring myself to stay because they are that bad.
Stayed for the opening acts.
Yep. So keep an eye on my blog and this podcast to find out more about the food news and happenings around town. If you have any food news, send an email to Tim or Leah or Ray at themanwhoatetown.com. You can also contact us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter instant messengers. Like us on Facebook. On Twitter, we are manwho8 the town, and on Instagram, we are manwho8 the town. And we implore you to send a voicemail for the podcast. 336-422-6862. That's right, 336-422-NUM. Leave us a voicemail and we'll play it on the podcast. Again, I want to thank Kristen Norton of Well Balanced Nutrition for being here with us today. She is a fantastic person and she will lead you in the right direction. It's still up to you to take the steps, but she'll point you that way. So give her at least check her out on the Facebook page, and if you think it's for you, contact her. It won't hurt. Well, Leah, good to have you back this week. Thank you for being here.
Yay.
Yeah, well, my name's Tim,
My name's Ray.
And I'm Leah.
and we're closing this loud ass recipe box. Until next time. Thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. Bon appetit. Yamas. The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the man who ate the town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.